Hello everyone and welcome to yet another game from the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz tournament. I know I said I wasn't going to show anymore, but this one really deserves showing, and it does come as a suggestion from a subscriber, so here it is, a suggestion from Mr. Herbdullah Yusuf. He says that, I know this is the last game you'll review from the Blitz and Rapids, but I'll be happy if, #suggestion, you can review the Fabiano Caruana versus Ding Liren game in the last round. Beautiful miniature by, I whited out the name here so it doesn't ruin it for you. Tactical fireworks, and this is why the #suggestion is so important. Without Mr. Yusuf suggesting it, I would not have even seen the game, and it's really a beauty. So before we check out the game, we do have to choose the thumbnail. So there it is, the coin toss. All right, I'm just gonna check it out. That is very interesting. Now let's check out the game. So Caruana with the white pieces is the final round. He opens with e4. We have c6, Ding goes for the Caro-Kann defense. We have d4, d5, sorry about that, and here e captures on d5, the exchange variation. We have c captures on d5, and now bishop to d3. We have knight to c6, c3 now, strengthening the center, and now queen to c7. We have h3, and here knight to f6. The exchange variation isn't all that popular in classical chess, but for Blitz it can always be used as a surprise. For example, Anand played it against Yanni in the Grand Chess Tour Paris that we've covered recently. Only Nepo played knight to Nepo played g6 here, but Ding continues with knight to f6, which is the main move in this line. With knight to a3 by Fabi, and now a6, taking away the b5 square from white's knight. Knight back to c2, and now g6. We have knight to f3 and bishop to f5, offering a trade of bishops where white can play bishop captures, for example, bishop captures here and double out black pawns, but as white will most likely castle kingside, you don't want to give the semi-open g file to black's rook. So we have bishop back to e2. Fabi declines the trade, and now comes e6, which is a new move in the position. There is one game in the database where bishop to g7 was played, but Ding now plays e6, and we have a completely new game already on move 10. Fabi castles kingside, and here we have h5, and already you can see that Ding is trying to push on the king side to create some sort of an attack, and it's still unclear where Ding's king is going to go. Maybe queen side or king side. That's kind of has a nice ring to it, Ding's king. Okay, Fabi continues knight c to e1, preparing to remaneuver the knight to d3. We have bishop to d6, and now knight to d3. And here, again, Ding leaves the options open, whether to castle kingside or queenside, but as the pawns on the kingside are already quite advanced, it's most likely that he will castle queenside. We have knight to e4, an excellent outpost for Ding's knight. Fabi would also enjoy such an outpost on e5, but Ding has a firm grasp on the e5 square, and also he can always kick away the knight with f6. With bishop to e3 by Fabi, and now we have castles queenside by Ding. And now Fabi would very much enjoy starting an attack, for example, something like a4, b4, b5, but you can't push b4 since the c3 knight would be hanging. So first Fabi goes rook to c1, and here Ding doesn't allow Fabi to start pushing. He plays g5, already starts the attack, even though it comes as basically just a pawn sacrifice. Here Ding offers the g5 pawn. Now, how do you defend? You can either ignore it, you can start an attack of your own, or you can play what Fabi played, knight captures on g5. You just grab the pawn, and next move you're going to strengthen the knight with either h4 or f4. We have rook d to g8. Now Ding plays rook d to g8. He didn't want to play it on the previous move and allow Fabi to start pushing. He first sacrificed the pawn, and only then, much like Mikhail Tal would do, just to make the attack happen a little bit sooner. And here h4 is the move Fabi should have played, but he tried a different line. He played f4. It also strengthens the knight, but it allows a tactic that, well, fortunately for Fabi, Ding overlooked. But you are welcome to pause the video here and to try and find this idea that both of them missed. While I give you a couple of seconds. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations. You are an excellent, spotter of ideas that were missed by both players. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, rook captures on g5. It just creates a wonderful idea, as there are so many dark square weaknesses around the white king. Now, of course, white would have to capture and then bishop h2 check. The f2 square is covered by the knight. King h1 only move, and now knight g3 check. Bishop covers g1, king captures on h2 is only move. Knight captures on f1, a double check from the queen and the knight. Now if king h1, then queen h2 is mate, so you have to play king g2. Now you just capture on e3 with an attack on the queen, and well, white's position isn't all that great, and also black is up a full piece, so black is completely winning here. Now the reason why Ding missed this is because he found another interesting line, knight to g3 first. And okay, now Fabi has to react to his rook being attacked. Rook to f2, now defending, and now comes f6, kicking the knight back. Knight to f3, and now the move Ding saw, probably why he decided not to look any further, and he missed the bishop, rook captures on g5, knight to e4. And here Fabi has to decide, does he want to lose the exchange, or does he want to allow the attack with bishop captures on h3, as the g-pawn is pinned due to the rook on g8. Fabi decides it's better to, save the exchange, so rook to f1, and now Ding captures, bishop captures on h3. We have knight f to e1, now defending, and here we have h4. h4 is what I think would best be described as a blitz move. The reason pretty much everyone can see that bishop captures on g2 probably goes, but in blitz, maybe you're low on the clock, you want to play h4, and then after you capture on g2, you can always push h3 and win your piece back. But if this was a classical game, we would probably see something like bishop captures on g2. I'm just going to show it as it's really a beautiful line. Knight captures, and now queen g7, threatening mate, and after white defends this with something like rook f2 or even bishop to f3, now you push h4, you threaten h3, and after king h2, trying to unpin, now h3, and after knight g e1, now you play queen g3 check. King h1, and now queen g2 check, a beautiful queen sacrifice. After bishop captures, you capture with the pawn, h captures on g2, king g1, and now rook h1 is mate as the knight covers the f2 square. This is probably what we would see if this was a classical game, but h4, Ding prefers a safe move. He knows he can capture on g2 and always push h3 on the next move. So, with king to h2, again, Fabi tries to unpin, and now queen to g7, again threatening queen g3 check. With bishop to f3, putting yet another defender to the g2 pawn, also bishop captures on g2 was a threat, but now Ding plays it. With bishop captures on g2, bishop captures on g2, and now queen to g3 check. King to h1, and now comes queen captures on e3, just grabbing a piece there. And here we have rook to f3 by Fabi. So here, once again, feel free to pause the video and try to find a winning idea for Ding in this position. It's actually a forced mate in 4, so let's just see how you do. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you are an excellent creator of miniatures with the black pieces. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, here h3 wins the game. This is what Ding played, and this is where Fabi resigned the game, as there is nothing more to do here. The obvious reply is rook captures queen, but then we get a similar mate, h captures on g2 check, king g1 only move, and now rook h1 is mate because the knight covers the f2 square. And if you try something else after h3, not capturing the queen, but what else is there? You could try bishop f1, but then just queen g3, queen g1 is mate. As the rook defends the queen. So yeah, after rook to f3, Fabi resigned the game, and a beautiful miniature for Ding Liren. Really, thank you for hashtag suggesting that, as I would most likely miss this game. There are so many Blitz games played, it's impossible to check all of them, and that's why I always, state how important it is for you to also suggest games, because even though I follow pretty much everything what goes on in the chess world, it's impossible to find all the nice games. But yeah, for those of you who might have missed it in the previous round, here are the standings after the end of the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. And also, sorry about that, I forgot to mention, in the previous video I said that all the people who were trying to catch up to Levin have won their games in the last round. That's not true. Yangyi drew his game, and that's the reason why he didn't catch up to Levin, because Levin lost the game in the last round against Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. We saw that in the previous video. But there you have it. Levin won the event with 22 points, then followed by 3 people with 21.5, Ding, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and Yangyi. 19.5, Sergei Caro-Kann, Magnus Carlsen with 17, Richard Rapport with 16.5, then Fabiano Caruana with 15, Dominguez Perez with 13.5, and Shahriar Mamediyarov last with 12 points. So there you have it. That was the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. And also a special announcement, well, not regarding me, but the World Fisher Random Championship is coming up. And I've just learned today that Fabiano Caruana will play a 20-game match against Garry Kasparov. So that's going to be really awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that. And we're going to check some games from that, as I don't think I've ever covered a Fisher Random game. Maybe, yeah, I think I covered one where Grishuk checkmated Carlsen in 7 moves, but I think that's the only one. But yeah, that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Pavel Atanasov, Trading Stick Run Item, and Matsley Bogdansky for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the Capablanca saga, checking up on your suggestions, nice ones such as this one, and of course, checking up on everything that goes on in the chess world. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your weekend.